can tell you in advance I have been an endorser for 1-800-Flowers. And 1-800-Flowers is a product that I have endorsed enthusiastically because it's a product I've used. I don't like sending flowers to chicks, but always when I send flowers to my mom, I use 1-800-Flowers, and family members, funerals, birthdays of friends, what have you. I've used it many times. I just don't believe in sending flowers to somebody you're dating. I don't care what company they're from. I think you need to save that until your first anniversary. Married, if you're going to get married, because believe me, you're going to be consigned to a lifetime of sending cards, flowers, teddy bears, Build-A-Bears, and whatever. It's going to be your life if you get married. Just be prepared. By the way, boys, before I continue with this story about 1-800-Flowers and a lawsuit, I just want to remind you that there are services out there that will automatically send flowers to your girl the same day every month with no thought necessary. That's my favorite kind, no thought necessary. She thinks you sat down and wrote out a card. She thinks you sat down and picked out the flowers. When in reality, some of these companies will just, they just say, what day of the month do you want them sent? And they send them on the same day every month. One time I dated a chick whose ex-husband used to, quote-unquote, send me flowers any month just because. That's what I was always being compared to him. Because he used to send flowers every month. I'm like, don't kid yourself. He sent flowers for you one time. He paid, $600. And they sent them every month. It was automated. He had nothing to do with it. But I had to hear about it. Of course, I wasn't sending any flowers, and I had no plans on sending any flowers because we were just dating. All right, anyway, just for purposes of being transparent, understanding where my feelings are about 1-800-Flowers, I'm an endorser of 1-800-Flowers because I've used the service. I don't do a lot of endorsements. Many of you think I endorse everything under the sun. Well, the reality is I turn down most endorsements. I do a limited number for products I've used and products where I know the people involved and I can recommend them without fear of, like, lawsuits or regretting it later. You will note that over the years in the TV and radio business, there have been a variety of products that people hawk that later on end up in front of the Federal Trade Commission and what have you. You'll notice you don't see my name appearing in any of those because I stay away from all the wackier ones. And I endorse products I would actually buy. And 1-800-Flowers is one of them. Okay, so now that you understand that, let me tell you this story, okay? It's from a website called AboveTheLaw.com. And this is, again, I'm quoting them because, remember, I'm an endorser of 1-800-Flowers.com. But here's what AboveTheLaw.com said. If you're a married man planning on sending flowers to your mistress, we have a tip for you. Do not use 1-800-Flowers as if you needed to be told. Says here, check out this interesting case filed in the Southern District of Texas. That's Houston. And included in this morning's courthouse news service. It's Leroy Green versus 1-800-Flowers.com. A breach of contract action. This is like one of these law journals. This lawsuit is a breach of contract action in which the defendants, that's 1-800-Flowers.com, according to the complainant, agreed to keep the plaintiff's order of flowers for his girlfriend private, with no record of the transaction mailed to him at his home or office. Months later, 1-800-Flowers, according to the complainant, sent a thank you card to the plaintiff's home, and his wife called the defendant for proof of the purchase. So the wife calls 1-800-Flowers and says, hey, could you send me a copy of the receipt? And according to the plaintiff, 1-800-Flowers faxed the plaintiff's wife proof of his order of flowers for his girlfriend, which resulted in a divorce being filed. So, AboveTheLaw.com asks, if plaintiff Leroy Green prevails, what would be the appropriate measure of damages? Will 1-800-Flowers reimburse him for his divorce settlement as a form of consequential damages? And what about alimony? Will they pick up the tab for that? Or can they just send his ex-wife a bouquet of carnations every month for the rest of her life? All right, now I have a copy. If you go to AboveTheLaw.com, you can see this lawsuit. And then I've got a copy of the receipt that was sent here, and the wife put a little handwritten note at the bottom of this. Fantastic. And there is there it is. It says 1 dozen long-stem red roses arranged with filler and greens, $50. Add-on, cuddly plush stuffed animal, $10. Occasion, love and romance. And the card message on the receipt says, just wanted to say that I love you and you mean the world to me, Leroy. That's what he was saying to his girlfriend. At the bottom, this was faxed to the wife, okay? So at the bottom, the wife writes, and this is included, the wife writes, be a man. If you got caught red-handed, then don't still lie. Your T-Mobile has her number, so why still lie? There's an awkward sentence. Why still lie? Me so horny. That's why still lie. All right, so there's the story. Now, the reason I'm bringing up this story is not to bash 1-800-Flowers or any particular flower company. That's not really the deal. The reason I'm bringing this up is because I'm wondering how many of you have gotten caught this way. And I don't mean necessarily a receipt from 1-800-Flowers. I mean gotten caught any number of ways. I'll describe some of the ways I've gotten caught because I've told you I've been very honest about this. So my future employers, if infidelity is a problem, I am screwed once I tell these stories, which I think I've told on the air at least once before. But I remember one time I got invited to my sister's wedding. And I was in a living together relationship with a wonderful person. And then I found myself falling in love with this really, really, really hot chick on the side that I ultimately moved in with. And I was like living at her house several nights a week and saying I had to work late. That's what I was doing. And my wonderful girlfriend was so understanding and tolerated this while I continued to sleep 3-4 nights a week at this other girl's place. One time, I saw my family, and instead of bringing the girlfriend, who they had never met, I brought the girl on the side since they would never know the difference. So rather than bringing the girl I lived with, I brought the girl I was seeing on the side to meet my parents and meet my siblings and what have you. And so shortly after I paid that visit, I got one of these phone calls, one of the we have to talk phone calls, the one where you know something is mortally wrong, something really, really bad is about to go down here. You know it's coming. And I will never forget, I was in New York City, and I never forget I had to meet my girlfriend at the time. I had to meet her at Washington Square Park. She was sitting on a bench in Greenwich Village. She worked for NYU. And I had to go meet her at the bench. And I knew which bench because we met there for lunch before. And I arrive, and she's waiting for me. And she opens her purse, and she pulls out a wedding invitation for my sister. And the names on the wedding invitation were me and the other chick sent to my home address. So I had to explain who the other person was. And there was no getting out of that one. I had been a complete creep, which I acknowledged and made amends for. In fact, recently I made amends for that. We talked about that on the air. That's the person I went to New York to see and handed her a check. I didn't pay her for her trouble. I paid her because she had been good to me and let me sleep on her couch and stay at her place without charging me any money, blah, blah. But nonetheless, the reason we had split up was because that wedding invitation arrived in the mail, and it had the name of me and the chick I was seeing on the side. And it arrived at my apartment. My sister wasn't exactly clear where I was sleeping at night. It wasn't really clear to most people because some nights I slept at my apartment, and some nights I slept up on the Upper West Side at this chick's apartment. Oh, we're working late again, honey. Yep, we got production to do. I'm probably going to be here really, really late. That worked for a long time until my sister had to get involved. Let it stop working. Then I turned it around on somebody else, speaking of getting the receipt. You know, because you think you're smart, you know, when you check into a hotel and you know, pay cash, or you slightly change the spelling of the street name you live on, or you put a different address or something. You think you're safe. Well, I suspected that somebody I was married to was having an affair. And I actually found charges at a hotel. Now, the charge was for like $60. And it was a really nice hotel. And it was clear to me this was not a hotel room she paid $60 for, because the hotel was too nice. So I brought her the American Express bill, and I said, why did you spend $60 at this hotel? And after hemming and hawing and saying homina, homina, homina for a few minutes, she said, well, she was in the TV business, and she said, well, we were doing a press conference at the hotel, and I bought lunch for the guys. So I took that under advisement. But what she didn't know was that I took the copy of the American Express receipt, and I called the hotel, and I said, yes, hello, I stayed at your hotel recently, and I charged. I see a charge here for the meal, but I don't see the charge for the room on my credit card. Did that somehow slip through the cracks? And they said, well, hold on a moment. And they said, what was the day again? I said what the day was, what the time was. And it even said that it was delivered to room 501. So I said, you know, it's room 501. So they come back on the phone with me. And they say to me, I won't use his real last name. I'll just say, they didn't call me Mr. Leykis. They said, well, Mr. Smith, it appears you paid cash. I said, oh, is that how I did it? Okay. Could you send me a copy of that receipt? And they said, certainly. And I said, also, because, you know, my boss is hounding me for this, could you send me an itemized bill for what I had for lunch? So that night, my ex came home from work, and I said to her, I've got a riddle for you. What do 2 chicken sandwiches on croissants, a jug of Chardonnay, and 2 orders of chocolate mousse have in common? And she said, I don't know what you're talking about. I said, well, they were all delivered to your room, room 501, at 5:50 p.m. on June 26th. I said, you must have been awfully hungry. And may I ask, our house is only 1 mile from this hotel. Why did you need to check into the hotel and order 2 chicken sandwiches and a jug of Chardonnay at 5:30 in the afternoon? She said, by the way, in the face of that evidence, she still denied it. Denied it for the next 12 years. But I continue to find stuff like that. I was amazed at how willing the hotels were to cooperate. No proof of my identification. I kept claiming to be the boy. Once I found out the name of the guy she was doing, Mr. Smith or whatever it was, and I knew who the guy was because he was a coworker, I just started calling hotels and saying my name was his name, and I needed a copy of my bill, and the hotels just kept sending me copies. I mean, I got stacks of hotel bills. And what he would do is he would sign into the hotel, pay cash, and then he would take his real home address and transpose 2 of the digits. That's what the trouble he went to, try to hide his identity. Found it. And once I got all that stuff together, I took it all and Xeroxed it and put it in a nice, neat package and mailed it to that guy's wife at her job. So he couldn't get it at the mailbox at home. And then pretty soon she tossed him. So I'm wondering if this has happened to you. Have you ever gotten caught this way? I mean, I've gotten caught this way. And then after I got caught, I started to get ideas on how to catch other people. And certainly now you have this guy suing 1-800-Flowers because he says they sent a thank you card to his home for his recent order. And then his wife got the thank you card, and she called them, according to him, she called them, and they sent him a receipt. They sent a receipt to his home, which his wife absconded with, and is now using in a divorce action. So now I guess the guy who's the victim here is saying that 1-800-Flowers should pay the cost of his divorce. Have you ever gotten caught this way?
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM.
Is she good in bed?
Oh, yeah.
Can she suck a medicine ball through a garden hose?
I got to try that one night.
The Tom Leykis Show.
It's the Tom Leykis Show at 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Thank you for tuning in. And we're talking about the guy who's suing 1-800-Flowers because he says after he bought flowers for his mistress, they sent a receipt. Actually, they sent a thank you card to his home. Thank you. Thank you. Well, by the way, who complains they got a thank you card for doing business with the company? Well, his wife absconded with the thank you card, called 1-800-Flowers, and he claims that 1-800-Flowers sent a copy of the actual receipt, which also had the text of the card that went with the flowers. And now he's suing. He wants them to pay the cost of his divorce. Have you ever gotten caught like that? 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Let's say hello here to Adam on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Yo.
Yo.
Yo. Tommy.
Let's waste as much time as we can leading up to what you're going to say. Yes.
No, I said, hey, Tommy, how are you, sir?
Oh, great. I didn't hear
Sorry,
that.
man. I'm driving. I'm smoking. I'm trying to talk to you.
Can't tell. Boy, you really do pull it off.
It's all good, man. Just for this comment, you know, the silver Dodge behind me has had a bad day. So, but anyhow, I just wanted to throw in, you were talking about earlier about that guy who's suing 1-800-Flowers.
Yes.
I don't know if you've heard, I want to say maybe it was like a year ago, but you know the stoplights that they take your picture when you run the red light? They
yes.
take a nice fancy picture of you?
Yes.
Well, these fancy Beverly Hills wives were getting these notices in the mail of their husbands running red lights. And when they open the mail and look at the picture, they got a good old 20-year-old blonde in the passenger seat.
Oh, yes.
So the guys all got together and tried suing the city to take down those cameras. It was like an invasion of privacy.
Yes.
Right? So I just wanted to throw that in there. So, you know, guys, if you're running red lights, you know, make sure your girl's on the down low.
That's exactly right. By the way, that reminds me of a story which I have told on the air, but it all fits in here. I had an ex who was still driving a car of mine. I was trying to help her out after we split. She was driving this car. And she was telling me, I am working so hard. You would not believe how many hours I'm working. Oh, my God. I go to work at the crack of dawn every day, and I'm there all day long, hour after hour after hour, and people want me to do this and do that and write these reports and go to meetings, and I'm always busy, 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 busy. I never have time to do anything. I don't have time for personal life. I don't have time for anything. I mean, I just have no time for anything. You know, I just come home every night. You know, most people are getting home from work 6, 6:30, 7 o'clock. I get home from work like 8, 8:30, and I just crash. I just go to bed, and I just fall down. Sometimes I wake up with my clothes on in the morning. That's how tired I am from all the work I'm doing. No time for my friends, no time to go out, no time for dinners out, no time for restaurant, nothing. Nothing. Now, she's driving my car, insured by me, okay? One day, I go to the mail, I get, I already know what it is before I open it. It's one of those damn photo radar pictures. And I'm like, oh, damn, where did they catch me? You know, here I'm going to get, you know, it's going to be $115 or something. I'm going to get nailed for running a red light or making an illegal turn or something. Here it comes. So I open the envelope. And, yes, my name was on the ticket because I'm the owner of said vehicle. And there is my ex, who never has any time for social life. She is wearing a party dress and pearl earrings at 11:45 p.m. and looking dazed and confused as she runs a red light somewhere down in the South Bay, nowhere near her home. And, you know, she's in my car. Now, I don't know what she's been drinking or if she's been drinking. I have no idea what she's been doing. All I know is that she appears to be dazed and confused, and she's driving around the South Bay. And she went through a red. By the way, these photo radar sites are amazing, because not only the picture is crystal clear, but they have accompanying video of the infraction. So I went to the website. I showed that to the boys here, by the way. I went to the website, and there was like an HD video of her going through the red light, whipping right through that red light. Took a corner at like 20 miles an hour. Just didn't even slow down. Just went zoom right through it. And so, of course, you know, she's driving my car, and it's insured by me, you know. So I called her up and I said, oh, wow, you're working really hard. You're working really hard. Where were you working on March 16th? Oh, I don't know, probably like every other night. Probably just came home and crashed. I said, well, looked to me like you were whipping through a red light somewhere down in the South Bay, nowhere near your house, in a party dress, around midnight, wearing pearl earrings. I don't know what you're talking about. So I sent her the link to the video, and I sent her the photos. I just scanned them and sent them to her. I said, is this you? That was the end of me paying her car insurance. It ended right then that day. That was it. I was done. I don't know what you're doing out at night. I don't know how often you're going out and driving around in a daze, but if you think I'm paying your car insurance with you getting out there getting videotaped. But, of course, she got busted because she wanted me to believe that, you know, after she left me, she had no social life going on. And, therefore, I would want to continue paying her car insurance and letting her use my car. That's what she thought. But she got nailed by the photo radar. By the way, speaking of ways of getting caught, Gary remembered this because he was here when it happened. How about the time, this is true, how about the time I was seeing somebody who led me to believe that her marriage was over and the husband was gone? And so we are writing emails back and forth the way I'm sure you've done at one time or another, right? The emails detail things like where you're going to meet next, how it was the last time, what you'd like to do the next time, where you'd like to go, how great is this, and other really explicit things, okay? These emails left no room for imagination, okay? They were very specific. Everything we did was contained. Everything we thought about was contained in these emails. And there had to be a total of about 100 or more. Now, what I didn't know was that one day the husband would come home, still had a key to the residence, and somehow he either figured out a way to hack her password or had one of those Spectre Pro programs that I tell you never to install on your computer from SpectreSoft.com. He had something like that, because I got this very urgent phone call. Very urgent phone call. And she calls me to tell me that her husband is at her apartment, and he has printed out all of the emails, both from me and from her, and has taken thumbtacks and has tacked them up on every spare piece of bare wall around the apartment. These letters are everywhere. He wanted her to look anywhere she looked. She would see evidence of how bad she was. This was his idea. He must have sat there all day. I think they had like a daisy wheel printer, and they didn't even have like a laser printer. So this probably took forever just to print these out. And then there they were all over the apartment. The entire apartment was covered in emails. And she called me on the phone like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do at this point. What do I do? Come over and tell your husband we were just kidding? What do you want me to do? Maybe you should have told me he might come back to your apartment and start printing out your email. You led me to believe this was pretty much a dead issue. Yes. So I'm wondering if you have gotten caught this way.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM.
If there's a hell, I'm going.
You say that now and you joke about it now.
You know what kind of talk show I could do in hell? I could imagine the guests I could have in there. Hitler, Mussolini.
Right?
I'd be the Larry King of hell. It'd be great.
The Tom Leykis Show.
The Tom Leykis Show at 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. By the way, what is happening with people? I'm always amazed at these little trends I notice. Very troubling little trend. Have you noticed, and it's not, I don't think it's just the matter that people have bad connections on their cell phones. You pick up the phone, you say hello, and at the other end, more and more people just sit there like befuddled. Like they don't even... They don't say hello. Do you know how many times I pick up my cell phone, I say hello, 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 hello. And then the other person probably says, oh, hello? Like they've never seen a telephone before. What is that all about? I mean, you can't have a bad signal that often, okay? I know there's a lot of people live in bad cell areas and stuff, but it's really out of control. I pick up the phone and I say hello and people don't hear me. Or I call people on the phone. I call people on the phone, they pick up and they don't. First of all, they let it ring as many times as possible. It's probably buried in the bottom of a purse somewhere or something. They pick it up and then they don't say anything. I mean, am I the only one having this problem? Jesus Christ. How about those people who you make a cell phone call and you're just trying to make a quick call? Like you're calling to say you're 20 minutes late. Which in L.A. you're always saying you're 20 minutes late. You don't really know how late you are. It's just a saying. It's just an expression. Right? You call up, you try to make a quick call. I have these people who refuse to have a telephone conversation unless the connection is crystal clear perfect. So it'll be like me calling up going, it'd be like this. It'd be like, hello? I just wanted to say I'm going to be about 20 minutes. Hello?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I'm going to be about...
Hello, are you there?
Yeah, Yes, I'm just trying to tell you I'm going to be, about 20 minutes late.
I hear static. Could you call me back?
You just heard what I said. I said I was going to be 20 minutes late.
That sounds kind of staticky. Could you just call me back? Call me on my landline, and maybe it'll sound better.
But you don't need me to call you back on the landline because I'm... come on. It's me. I'm 20 minutes late.
There are people who just like they just have to complain about this. They can't function if everything doesn't sound perfect and work perfectly. It's like, 20 years ago it would have been a miracle to think you could take something out of your pocket and talk on it to somebody at the other end, okay? Now there are people who just that kind of person. They freak out if the connection isn't absolutely perfect. Or they don't say hello. I mean, they sound like their own grandparents, Have you ever seen a phone? You pick it up. It's like etiquette. You pick up and say, hello. Or in other countries, they say, bueno, pronto. They say something. They say something. They pick up the phone and they say something. I had an ex-girlfriend who you had to teach the basic rules of communication. How about being with somebody who, when you talk to them on the phone, will never say anything to indicate they just heard what you said? The normal rhythm of a conversation goes like this. So I was talking to my buddy the other day, and I told him that I was going to come visit him for the weekend. And so when I said I was coming for the weekend, he said, wait a minute, I'm not going to be home this weekend. Oh, so what'd you do? Well, I told him that I was going to have to make it next weekend. Oh, okay. This ex of mine, here's how the conversation would go. So I called my friend, and I told him that I was going to see him next weekend. Are you there? Yes, I'm here. All right. So I told him I was going to come by next weekend. Right? Yeah, go ahead, go ahead. Okay. So I told him I was going to come by next weekend, and he told me he wasn't going to be home next weekend. Are you near the end of the story? Is there a point to it? Yes, I'm trying to get to it. Are you listening to me? Yes, you're just taking too long to tell the story. I'm taking too long to tell the goddamn story because you don't give any acknowledgement that I said anything. You don't say, uh-huh. You don't say, I hear you, 10-4, message received, mission accomplished. You don't say anything. You don't say anything. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't. What's the problem? What are you trying to tell me? What are you trying to say? I'm just trying to tell you the story about my friend. Yeah, I know. You were going to visit your friend next weekend. Well, that's great. No, I'm not visiting my friend next weekend. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Why are you taking so long to get to the point? I actually had a relationship where every conversation was like this. Every one. The value of saying, at least every 3 minutes of the conversation indicate you haven't, like, fallen unconscious or died. Or that you haven't started watching entertainment television again to kill time until I'm done talking to you, which I know you were doing, and you know who you are. I'm trying to talk to you, and you're watching the 100 most fantabulous celebrities in Hollywood on E! Or whatever that show is called. One of the most startastic stars. Or I just imagine her holding the telephone out there, like waiting for me to stop going. She could hear that in the distance. Jesus. All these things are hitting me this hour. I don't know what it is. I just keep thinking of all these other things. 1-800-5800-TOM. Did you ever get caught? Did you ever get caught like the guy says he got caught from 1-800-Flowers? The guy who bought flowers for his mistress. And he said to the person when he gave the order, hey, I don't want a receipt. I don't want any record of the purchase sent to my home. And they said, okay. And then they, according to him, sent a receipt to his home, which his wife absconded with. And let's say hello here to Lindy on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom. Big fan. Big fan.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing it home every day. Hey, Tom. Okay, I have a great story. Okay, so I was considering getting divorced, which I am in the process right now. And so we have this Vonage system at our home, and it's, where it's the telephone system, but it goes through your computer so you can listen to your voicemails.
Yeah, I have one of those. It's a VoIP phone. I have one of those.
Okay, so anyways, I have it. So it was going to my husband's voicemail, and I said, hey, will you, transfer it to me so I can check the calls at home, because he couldn't check them at home for some reason. So he transferred the address, the internet address, to me. So I got a confirmation saying, we've received your change from blah, blah, blah at Hotmail to my email address at AOL. So I said, blah, 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 Hotmail. I didn't know he had Hotmail address. Okay, so I'm already considering, I really think we should get a divorce, whatever, in my head. So I go on to this Hotmail, and I just put in his Hotmail address, and sure enough,
wait a minute. You didn't just put in his Hotmail address. You had to put in a password. How did you know what his password would be?
Come on. Every guy has the same password for every single thing they have. So I took a wild guess. I put in a password, and sure enough, boom, up pops his Hotmail address. Okay, so I'm minding my own business. I'm just checking his Hotmail address. And then I see so-and-so registration at a Mates One intimate dating service. Now, we're not separated. I'm in my head, we're Mates One intimate dating service. So I pull up his thing, his Mates One intimate dating service. So I pull it up, and, welcome, blah, blah, blah. So I read his profile. So now I'm like, what the hell? Okay, so this goes on for a few days. I'm trying to wait, what? No way. So anyways, then I go back to it. I pull up the profile, and, I pull up the profile, and sure enough, it says his name. It says he's married, and it says he's looking for women between 19 to 29 he's looking for women. And then explains what he looks like, whatever. So I'm like,
who isn't looking for that, by the way?
My God. Are you there?
Yes, yes, okay. I am.
So I'm, so of course, what do? I say, you know what? I'm going to get divorced. But why I'm going to get divorced, I might as well change his profile a bit. So now his profile is no longer women between the ages of 19 and 29, but he's looking for men between the ages of 19 and 25 that are into cross-dressing and bondage. So that's kind of how. Then I filed for divorce. I made a copy and I gave it to my attorney.
Very, very nice.
So what do you think?
Good work on that, dear.
Thank you. Will you blow me up, please?
Of course I will.
Thank you.
It's 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Let's say hello here to Marlene on the Tom Leykis Show.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Marlene.
Oh, wow. So I have a story for you.
Okay.
Just last week, my boyfriend of 5 years, 5 years, what's it called? I've had I believe that all women have an intuition when something's going on. So the night Friday
and you think men don't?
Well, not as strong as women, though.
Well, you'll have to talk to one of my exes about my strong intuition.
Yeah, no, I was just listening. So, I had a dream. I had a dream that he actually was getting married in Mexico, and I'm like, wow. So he was working, so I woke up, sent him a text message, and I said, do you still love me? He replied back like, oh, don't start. I'm at work, blah, 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 right? Okay, whatever, let it go. That Sunday, he came over, nothing, he came over.
So he wasn't living with you?
No. He wasn't living he's not living with me.
Okay.
So he just came over. He was taking a nap, and I was cleaning my house, and he left his phone out. For quite some time, he hasn't been bringing his phone inside my house. He would always leave it in his car. I've never questioned him about it. I'm like, okay, he's going to do his thing, whatever. So I saw his phone, and I looked at it. Okay. So all the calls, the incoming calls, the outgoing calls, no big deal. There was one call to a specific person, and I wrote the number down. And I started going through the contacts. Mind you, all the text messages were only from me. The only text messages were just to me.
Well, I'm out of time, but I can only imagine where it went next.
The Tom Leykis Show.